Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a story that goes way beyond luxury vehicles. We're talking about the epic survival of BMW. We're going to trace its crazy path from a company that literally had its original business model outlawed to becoming one of the most recognized automotive empires on the planet. So let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. What if I told you the creators of the modern high-performance sports sedan didn't start off making cars at all? No way, right? But it's true. Over 100 years ago, the founders of BMW were actually looking up at the sky, building aircraft engines. Let's see how they made that incredible jump. Section 1. The Unexpected Origins. So BMW, it actually stands for Bayerische Motorenwerke, which translates to Bavarian Motor Works. Founded in 1916 in Munich, Germany, you wouldn't find any sports cars rolling out of their factories early on. Their reputation was built entirely up in the skies. They specialized in manufacturing aircraft engines, and they quickly became known across the whole industry for absolutely incredible reliability and high performance. I mean, they were at the absolute top of their game. But, well, here is where the tension really ramps up. Just imagine having your entire, highly successful business model completely wiped out by international law, practically overnight. After World War I, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, and it explicitly prohibited Germany from producing aircraft engines. Just like that, the core of BMW's business was gone, destroyed. They had a really tough choice to make: fold up the company and disappear into history, or execute a massive, super risky pivot just to survive. Section 2. Two wheels before four. Looking at the timeline, you can clearly see this rapid, almost desperate evolution. Starting in 1916 with aircraft engines, they bounced back in 1923 by introducing their very first motorcycle, the R32. And then, just 5 years later, in 1928, they make the massive leap into the automobile business. It's just a phenomenal trajectory, right? From the sky, down to two wheels, and eventually onto four. Now, what's really fascinating here is how ahead of its time their engineering actually was. That 1923 pivot to the R32 motorcycle, it featured a boxer engine and utilized a shaft drive. These specific innovations were such an undeniable, massive success that they helped BMW build a lasting reputation for engineering excellence. Actually, if you look at BMW motorcycles today, almost a full century later, those very same technologies are still fundamentally associated with the brand. It's wild. Section 3. Entering the auto industry. So they realized that starting a car manufacturing operation from absolute scratch was just going to take way too long. So in 1928, BMW officially enters the automobile business by strategically purchasing an existing company called Farz Fabrik Eisenach. This was a brilliant move. Buying their way in gave them the infrastructure they needed and paved the exact way for their very first simple, small production car, which rolled off the line in 1929. The speed of their evolution here is just staggering. On one hand, you have their first car from 1929, the BMW 315. Small, simple, totally functional. But fast forward a bit, and throughout the 1930s, they introduced these much larger, significantly more powerful vehicles, culminating in the stunning 1930s BMW 328 sports car. And this wasn't just a nice-looking car. It became one of Europe's most successful racing cars. In roughly a decade, they went from making their first humble compact car to completely dominating European racing tracks. Section 4. Crisis and the New Class. Now, things take a dark turn. Following World War II, this was a company literally fighting for its life. Because they returned to producing aircraft engines during the conflict, their factories were heavily targeted and sustained massive, massive damage. Coming out of the war and into the late 1940s and 1950s, the financial struggles were absolutely severe. We aren't just talking about a bad sales quarter here. This legendary brand was extremely close to bankruptcy. They were on the absolute brink of disappearing forever. And this brilliantly illustrates the turning point that arrived with the 1960s new class sedans. BMW basically figured out an incredible formula. They combined sporty performance, luxury, and everyday practicality into one beautiful package. The new class sedans were the ultimate savior for the company. I mean, they were a massive hit and officially transformed BMW from a struggling, war-torn manufacturer into the highly respected global automotive brand we know today. Section 5. The Modern Luxury Empire. Over the following decades, BMW established this core legendary lineup. You have the 3 Series, which became one of the world's best-selling luxury sedans, then the 5 Series, perfectly balancing executive comfort with sporty driving dynamics, and the 7 Series, sitting right at the top, showcasing cutting-edge luxury and technology.
I really want you to remember, when you see these models out on the road, they are the direct result of decades of stubborn, uncompromising resilience.
But true modern success requires diversification. They maintained their absolute dedication to driving purists by creating the high-performance M division, producing icons like the M3, M5, and M8 that are built for raw track performance. At the exact same time, they successfully captured modern consumer demands by expanding heavily into the SUV market with the X Series and fearlessly stepping into the future with innovative electric vehicles under the BMW I Series. They pretty much conquered every single segment they entered.
To really grasp how big they've become today, consider that BMW isn't just a single brand anymore. It's a massive, highly influential automotive group. Under their global brand's umbrella, they now own iconic British names like Mini and Rolls-Royce motor cars. And looking ahead, their future investments are heavily pointed toward electric vehicles, hybrid technology, and autonomous driving. They are actively protecting their legacy by engineering the future. Consider this number right here, 140. That is the number of countries where BMW operates today. From a company whose factories were literally in ruins just a few decades ago, they now sell millions of vehicles every single year across 140 nations. That is the sheer, staggering scale of their modern operation. It's just incredible.
All of this history, all of the crises averted, and all of the engineering breakthroughs culminate in their famous, enduring slogan, the ultimate driving machine. It's a lot more than just a clever marketing tagline, isn't it? It's a statement that represents a full century of engineering excellence and unparalleled corporate survival. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. Next time you're out on the road and a BMW pulls up next to you at a stoplight, what will you see? Will you just see a nice luxury car? Or will you see the ultimate survivor, a brand that outlived world wars, dodged bankruptcy, pivoted from aircraft to motorcycles to cars, and emerged from a century of crises as a global king of the road? Thank you so much for exploring this amazing history with me today on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.